Hey, what is up everybody? Welcome into my Shin Megami Tensei 1 beginner guide. In this guide, I'm going to be giving my best tips for new players to Shin Megami Tensei 1 to help you out as much as possible. And some of the advice I'm going to be giving in this beginner's guide is literally going to allow you to beat this game 3 to 5 hours faster. So with that being said, I just figured it'd be cool to make a video to help out new players to Shin Megami Tensei 1 who are going to be beginning the game, playing through it for the first time. And with that being said, let's get right into the video and let's start talking about my best beginner tips for Shin Megami Tensei 1. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to be covering in this guide is going to be about stat builds for your characters. So when you level up, what points should you put into your character stats? So first, let's start with building the main character stats. So the main character in Shin Megami Tensei 1 cannot use any magic, so I do not recommend putting points into his magic stat or his intelligence stat. Instead, what I recommend for the main character is putting points into his power stat, his vitality stat, or his speed stat. Those three stats are really good stats to put points into for the main hero when he levels up. Raising the protagonist's power stat will help a lot because his damage with melee weapons will increase and his max HP will also increase as well. And then speed is really good because it allows you to go first in battle and go faster in general in battles. And that's really important because later in the game when you get guns, which are very overpowered, this will allow you to go first in battle, shoot all enemies with the gun, and basically be able to hit them with a status effect if you got like nerve bullets equipped, which can put enemies to sleep. And basically you can hit enemies with a bunch of status effects before they go, and that is why the speed stat is incredibly important. Okay, so next up, let's talk about the heroine of the game, the female hero. So the female hero has the ability to cast magic. She is one of the best magic casters in the game. So it is recommended you do put points into either her magic stat. Putting points into her vitality stat is also a really good idea because that will raise her max HP and her defense, allowing her to survive a lot better. And then also put points into speed so that she can go before the enemies do in battle. Now I'm going to talk about stat builds for the Law Hero and the Chaos Hero. So the Law Hero gets a lot of healing magic. He also gets some attack magic as well. So you do want to put a few points into his magic. And then also you want to raise his speed so he can go before enemies do in battle. Another really good recommendation I can make is also put points into the Law Hero's vitality. That will help raise his max HP and defense, so that will increase his survivability a lot. The Chaos Hero, meanwhile, joins a little bit later than the Law Hero, so for the Chaos Hero, my recommended stat build is to focus on his speed. I would also recommend putting points into the Chaos Hero's vitality stat, raising that max HP, that defense, so he can survive a lot better. He won't be using melee weapons a lot because shortly after he joins, he'll get access to guns not too long after. My overall recommendation for the Chaos Hero stat build is to focus on vitality and speed. Level up those two stats for him and you'll be good to go. Alright, so that's going to about cover it for these stat builds. Now we're going to get into the next tip for the beginner's guide video. Now the next tip I'm going to give is how to get a really powerful demon at the beginning of the game. So at the beginning of the game, you can get Cerberus, who is a level 40 plus demon at the beginning of the game when you're only like level 10 to 15. And the way to get Cerberus is basically when you're at the beginning of the game, in the southwest corner of the world map, there's an area with a heretic manor, which is where you do fusion. So you want to go to there, you want to recruit a demon, it can be any demon. And then at one point in the story in the beginning, your dog Pascal is going to ask to join you. Make sure to take him along and then go to the heretic manor and you can fuse Pascal with any demon and it's going to make him into Cerberus. And Cerberus is a level 40 plus demon. He has a spell that can revive somebody back to max HP. You only get him for a temporary amount of time and then he leaves, but you do get him back later in the main story. He will help you out a ton in the beginning of the game, so definitely make sure to get him. My next biggest tip for Shin Megami Tensei 1 for beginners, get guns in the game as soon as possible. Guns are incredibly overpowered in the game. They can pretty much hit almost every single enemy. They can inflict status effects if you get the right bullets for them. The soonest that you can buy guns in the game is right around the point in the game where you go to the Echo building. They can be kind of expensive at the beginning of the game, so you might need to do a lot of battling to get enough money to buy them, but believe me, it is well worth it. The first place you can buy guns in Shin Megami Tensei 1 is the antique store in the Kichijoji Mall. So if you go there, right around the point in the game where you go to the Echo building, basically the antique store owner will reveal that he is selling guns and he will allow you to buy guns and ammo. So that is the earliest point in the game that you can start buying guns, so make sure when you get enough money to go there, buy guns, buy ammo. My next biggest tip is to get the nerve bullets as soon as possible in the game. The earliest point in the game you can get them is when the female hero, the heroine, joins you in the game. When she first joins, she has nerve bullets equipped. Unequip them from her and put it on the main hero. The reason why is after she joins you at the beginning of the game, she's going to leave your party for a temporary amount of time for like 2 to 3 hours. And if you don't take the nerve bullets off of her and equip it to the main hero, you're going to lose access to them for like another 3 to 4 hours of the game. So make sure to unequip it from the heroine, put it on the hero, and equip it to him and make sure he's using it in battle. Why are nerve bullets so good? Because they inflict the sweep status effect very often. You can get in battle, you can use a gun that shoots like 6 enemies, and basically you have like a really high chance of putting the enemies to sweep when you shoot them with the nerve bullets. And let's say you're fighting like 5 enemies, so you get your gun that's equipped with nerve bullets, and you start shooting the enemies, you'll probably put 3 out of like the 5 enemies to sweep, which will prevent them from doing anything for multiple turns. Guns and status effects are very, very overpowered in Shin Megami Tensei 1. If you want to dominate random battles in the game, status effect bullets and guns are the key to doing so. Alright, now my next biggest tip, and this is one that is going to allow you to beat the game like 3 to 5 hours faster, is that in the Ueno area later in the game, you can recruit a demon called Orthrus that you encounter there. Make sure to talk to him, negotiate with him, and get him to join you. The reason Orthrus is very good is he learns the spell Estomai. Estomai basically makes lower level enemy encounters not happen anymore. So if you go into an area and you're a higher level than the enemies and you cast Estomai, it'll prevent you from getting into any random battles. This spell alone can literally make the final dungeon go from taking like 4 to 5 hours to an hour and a half to 2 hours. It will allow you to get through the later parts of the game much, much faster. So not getting Orthrus and not getting Estima would be a big mistake. What would also be a big mistake is not liking this video and subscribing to my YouTube channel, especially when I'm giving super helpful advice that is literally allowing people to beat this game hours faster. Now, my last 2 tips for Shin Megami Tensei 1 is 1, when you're looking for demons to fuse or recruit, look for demons that have the spell Tarukaja or Rakukaja. Those are some of the best spells in the game for boss fights. Tarukaja is an attack buff spell that basically raises your party's attack power. Rakukaja is a buff spell that raises your entire party's defense. You can cast them multiple times, the buffs stack, and it will help you out a lot in boss fights. Then my very final tip is for boss fights, have the female hero, the heroine, casting Zeo in boss fights so she can shock the boss and prevent them from doing anything that turn. As long as she has high enough speed to go before the boss does, and she casts Zeo and doesn't miss, she will shock the boss, and then she will prevent the boss from doing anything that turn. The shock status effect is very overpowered in Shin Megami Tensei 1 because of that. You can spam Zeo with her to prevent bosses from doing anything. It's a very, very good way to defeat bosses in this game. Overall, I want to say thank you so much for watching the video. Really greatly appreciate it. And I will catch you all in the next video. Thank you all so much. If you have any beginner tips you want to share, make sure to put them in the comments. And thank you all so much, and everybody have a good one.